Hello, I am Shane Moore, and this is the Texas Live. We'll be talking tonight about Rh negative blood, the genetics behind that, the haplogroups, and how it's linked to spirituality. So I had some technical difficulties, unforeseen. I have no idea, but that's become commonplace for me. Unfortunately, it seems like that there's always something that's thrown in to the mix that is just it's frustrating, but I'm not going to stop. Maybe it's because I'm getting information out that certain groups they don't want out. So I don't know, but I have talked with, well, not talked with, but I have read different about different accounts where people, they were broadcasting, talking about the same things that I do, and they ran into the same problems. Very, very strange how every time it's something that happens, but some of these people, they actually had their accounts deleted. Now, I don't know if it was by YouTube or what, but very, very strange. Anyway, there's always a price to pay. There's always a price to pay, no matter if you do good or bad. There's always a price to pay. People think that if you do good, that you're just going to live life with no problems. But no, that's not true. When you do good, there's people that they will certainly cause you problems. So keep that in mind. It's a wonderful life, right? No, it can be, but anyway, like I said, we're going to talk about the Rh negative blood, but not only for Rh negative people. You may be Rh positive. You may be married to an Rh negative. Your wife, your husband may be Rh negative. This will help you to understand them, maybe help them to understand themselves, theirself. So we'll go ahead and we'll start. And I hope that I didn't take too long. I apologize for that. It took forever. It said that my camera was being used by another app. I had no, couldn't find it. Shut the computer down, turned it back on. Still said it was being used by another app. So I had to go through and shut down everything manually, one by one. And and then turn it back on. And lo and behold, it works. So one thing about me is if it took all night, I would still be here. I'm going to do it, come hell or high water. So anyway, okay, talking about the mysterious Rh negative blood, the people who have Rh negative blood. I want to make a disclaimer before we start that by talking about people with Rh negative blood, I am not saying, I am not implying that people with Rh negative blood are superior to people with Rh positive blood. I'm not saying that. I'm not implying that at all. I'm also not saying or implying people with Rh negative blood are somehow special. We're not. What I am saying is that people with Rh negative blood are different. I can assure you that. Different. Yes. Let's see. Okay. Okay. All right. So, people with Rh negative blood, they're not superior. We're not superior. We're not special. We're just different. And because we're different, because people with Rh negative blood are different, it has caused much suffering and pain. Depression, anxiety, you name it. Insecurity, confusion, loneliness, just not understanding. It's almost like struggling to live in this world. Why? Because it's like we're in this world, but we're not of this world. Now, I'm not saying we're aliens, not at all. I'm not saying that. So just, you know, those that do say that, you know, they're free to say what they want to say, but I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that people with Rh negative blood are aliens. Different, yes. maybe we seem like aliens, but no, I don't buy that alien theory. So I just want to get that out of the way, because I know that that's a lot of problem, that many people have a problem with that. And believe it or not, a lot of Rh negative people, they're worried about that because they tell me, they say, you know, I'm not an alien, you know, and people think I am, and it worries me. And so let's just stop the, you know, stop the jumping to conclusions. And it amazes me, and I have to say that it saddens me that let's see. Hey, Mom, my mother's here. My wonderful mother, love you. Um, I I saw your message, but I don't see it on the chat. So okay, hold on. Well, all right. I'll try this. Maybe that will. Okay. Mom, if you could give me some feedback and type something just so I can see if I can read the messages, because I'm not getting anything. I'm not sure. But so hey, Patricia, thank you. Glad you're here. So glad you're here. My mom's here, Shirley, and now you're here, so that's great. Yes, talking about Rh negative blood, we're gonna get really into it. I just want to say that I'm going to discuss things tonight that it's probably going to upset some people. Go figure. But I don't mean to upset people. But if you, or if anyone has a problem with me speaking my theories, what I believe, yeah, really. If you have a problem with me speaking my theories, and they're just theories, this is not something that is that you're going to find any authority on as far as the origins of Rh negative blood. But if you have a problem with me speaking freely, sharing my thoughts, my theories, then, you know, go to another show, to another channel. And I'm not being rude, I'm just being honest. You know, save yourself from getting mad or causing problems. Because if you're not going to, if you're going to get mad at me for sharing my theories, what I think, when I more than welcome you to do the same, then it's not going to work. And that's another thing that I want to let everyone know, is that during this live video podcast chat, is I encourage that. I want to know what you think, what you feel, and good or bad. So anyway, okay, that's out of the way. All right. The mental characteristics of some of the mental characteristics, traits of people with Rh negative blood it's really astounding, because they are so so incredibly similar to other Rh negatives, such as, I would say the number one thing is our empathy levels. If you want to use the term empath, oh man, that is one thing about me that I can say. And by the way, I am Rh null. O negative, but okay, you say you're green-eyed, O negative, recovered from end-stage cancer. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. Recovered from end-stage cancer. Now, how did you do that? Do you attribute being Rh negative to helping you to recover from end-stage cancer? And hold on just a second. Let me. Your name is Paida Clark. Okay. Well, I'm green-eyed, pale green eyes, and I'm O negative. Like I said, Rh null. So you say, yes, they could not treat me. Okay, well, I think that's great. Now, it has been said that that people that have you say they could not treat me, operation only. Okay, so did you have an operation? Okay, because of the blood group. Okay, because it has been said that some people with Rh negative blood have the ability to cure themselves, to heal themselves. Now, this is something that goes back to, well, ancient times, where it's been said that people with Rh negative blood are natural healers. Not only can they heal themselves, but it's been said that they can heal others. Now, take that back to the Middle Ages. Okay, you say that's what the specialist said. It had metastasized. I know I probably killed that, but it had spread. Oh, I am so glad that you are free from that. Oh, that cancer is just, it's horrible. But it's been said that people with Rh negative blood can not only heal themselves, but they can heal others. Now, the Middle Ages, you had the Merovingian kings in what is now France. And they called them the long-haired kings. They, like Samson, like Samson in the Bible, they attributed their strength to their long hair. It was said that they could heal people by touching them with their hands. Okay, in the Bible, it talks about Jesus, laying hands on people, or with Jesus just speaking the word. But the disciples, they laid hands on people and healed them. It goes back to Isaac, Jacob, laying hands and parting the blessing his children, blessing his sons. And I think that is tangible. Now, one thing to keep in mind is most Rh negative people that I've met, they're incredibly spiritual, whether they want to be or not. Now, I'm not talking about religious. I'm talking about spiritual. I cannot stand religion, but I love spirituality. I don't like being relegated. I don't like being restricted. I like freedom. I like to think for myself. And organized religion, that's a no-no. You're supposed to just, what is it? Well, just follow by blind faith. Well, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I don't care. Hell can freeze over and I'll skate on the ice. I am not going to put my faith, my belief in anything blindly. I'm just not going to do it. You say they told me they'd never seen it before. I've healed once. It was too late, but I stopped him vomiting blood out of every orifice. He still died, but comfortable and happy. The same coin, two sides. I agree. Yeah. And a lot, many, most, I'm just going through the line here, most RH negatives that I've talked to, they're the same way. They just, it's really strange because they have this innate knowledge of spiritual things. You say your faith is deeply personal and null more so. Well, that's true. I have always wore my own hat. Wasn't ever rude, but I didn't ever even when I was 5 years old. We would, go to church like on Easter or something, and there would be preachers that would be shocked, because they would ask all the little boys, what do you want to be when you grow up? And kids would say, well, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a policeman. They come to me and I'd say, I'm going to be a preacher. And they, what? I'm going to be a preacher. And wow, I've never heard that before. And now it could have been that I was just trying to win points with the preacher. No, it wasn't. Because people would ask me that on the street, I'd say the same thing. Now, my family, we didn't go to church. We didn't even watch preachers on TV, thank God. I'm a lot better off for it. Can't stand them. But anyway, yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. Is where does that come from? You say biblically, and I'm not biblical. Cain killed Abel and was marked with the beast. Okay, rhesus and Neanderthal. So God took mercy and had Seth. Seth may be us, completely human. Okay, now that's your theory, and I respect that. But I don't that's not my view on it, because actually the Neanderthal, they were not violent. They were gatherers, and their cranial capacity was actually more than ours. Cain killed Abel, and because he lost it. I mean, he lost his temper, and killed his brother. Now, my opinion is the mark of Cain is nothing more than a guilty conscience. People, they say, well, Cain had horns, and or God put put a mark on his forehead. And no. The mark of Cain, in my opinion, is a guilty conscience. Because if God had to put a physical mark on Cain, don't you think the Bible would have noted what that was? I mean, if he had a horn coming out or horns coming out of his head, be like, yes, and God caused Cain to have horns coming out of his head. That would have been mentioned. But what does it say? It says, and Cain was wroth, or he was sad, or he had his head down or whatever, and God banished him. And I think that that guilty conscience, when he said, hey, Mom, yes, thank you, my mother's here. I'm glad you're here. You say, a physicist said, we're not from here, we have trouble metabolizing oxygen. Well, that's true. Now, I'm not saying that we are from here. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we're not. I'm not saying we are. I'll just present the information, and I'll let people make up their own minds. But you're right. Many people with Rh negative blood, they have problems with their joints. A disease called AS. Patricia, you say, even before I knew my blood type, I knew something was different with me versus everyone else. You mentioned this in the video from earlier today. Yes. And Patricia, before I even knew your blood type, I knew you were Rh negative. I could see that a mile away. Like I said, you could be my daughter, like literally, biologically, you're so much like me. Oh, no problem. Copper-based blood. Okay. Yes. I mean, you know that. I mean, Patricia is, we go back almost 2 years now. So she's a member of my Facebook group, the Spiritual Advancement Society. And her and her sister. But yeah, most Rh negatives have pale complexion, green or blue eyes. Yes, Mom. You say, I've been told many times that I was wired backwards. Exactly. Yep. Same with me. And what do you do? I mean, used to, I would fight it. I would try to I don't know, I would try to conform. No more. No more. You know what I do? And I encourage you to do it. Be yourself. No matter how different, no matter, well, you say just go with the flow. Sometimes you have to rock the boat, you know. And if you know, if somebody gets upset, then so be it. Patricia, you say, do you think maybe those who have evolved traits of pale complexion, blue eyes are all Rh negative, or is that too general? I wouldn't say all, but a lot of the pale, like me. I'm like Casper the Friendly Ghost. I mean, you can ask my mom. Used to, we would go to the water park or, you know, swimming, and I would be like a lobster with blisters, and the sun is not my friend, not at all. Oh, you're fine, Patricia. Absolutely. I see. You say, see, Paida, you say, all those, I was predicted to be born with a double-edged sword over me. Rare asthma, flatline 65 times. We heat and cool quickly. Yeah, I would, and I still, if I'm out during the you know, summer in the direct sunlight, 5 minutes, I start to burn. And people say, well, if you gradually do it, you'll tan. Wow, really? You actually think in 50 years I've not tried that over and over and over? No, I burn. It just takes longer. Come on. I've been there, done that. My doctor told me the sun is not your friend. He says, do not get out in it. Well, that would be one thing. Yes, that would be, yeah, yeah. Well, you say maybe we have no melanin. Well, we have to have some, or we would be albinos. So there are some, but they're pretty rare too. And that's another thing is migraines. A lot of Rh negatives get migraines, but what I want to talk about is that as far as the right the some have extra vertebrae, some have impacted wisdom teeth, or they never come in. My teeth, believe it or not, and I don't know if this has to do with being Rh null, but I had a wisdom tooth that was impacted, and dentist took an X-ray, and he said, "There's no way I can do that." He said, "I thought I could." He says, "But," he said, well, it was lodged because the roots roots of my teeth. Yes, yes, that's right. The extra vertebrae compresses your spine and causes a lot of back problems, and it hurts. That disease, and I know I'm going to kill this. Okay, it's called AS, anolonking spondylosis. I know I didn't pronounce that right, but look it up, Google it, and see if you are Rh negative, see if you have those symptoms. No, not the same as ALS. This is just AS, anolonking spondylosis. Again, I know I killed that, but look it up. You can type in disease AS and the word will come up. But but the dentist looked at my teeth x-ray, and he said your teeth, he said, the roots grow at a 45-degree angle backwards. He said the roots are wrapped around your jawbone. And he said it's almost like a predator. When you bite, nothing can come out because your teeth were meant to grow back. And I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty creepy. So I had to go to an oral surgeon just to have this, wisdom tooth taken out. Yes, Mom, it was wisdom tooth. See, Paida, you say the roots grow over the other teeth like that, and thanks. I might be null, but I think I'm not quite. But blood comes from overseas. Yes. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, you say yours was under your jawbone. Well, I had a molar, a back molar, here about 3 months ago, and it chipped, and the nerve was exposed, and I was in serious pain. So I went to a dentist. Didn't know it was like a weekend, and I wasn't going to tell him about my teeth being the roots at a 45-degree angle backwards and all that. But he came in expecting to, 10 minutes, and he was going to be out, done. And over an hour later, he was really, really getting mad. I mean, he was torquing that tooth, that molar, actually torquing my jaw, my face. And I told him, I said, he had to take breaks. Excuse me. And he said, oh man, you could just see it on his face. He's just, oh, well, I'll start again. He was rushing, and he was not happy. And so I thought he was going to break my jaw. And but it finally gave, and boom, flew across the room. And but yeah, that was something. Every time I have to have a tooth pulled, it's like that. It's just, it is crazy. But oh, thank you, Mom. um, let's see. Patricia, you say I still need to get mine out, and they're like sideways or so. They still haven't come in to the surface though, through my gums. Well, they don't have to, and really, the sooner you get them out, the better. You don't want to wait until that pressure builds up and they're trying to come through and they can't. That's where the pain comes from. Is, hell, I mean, it's like a volcano that can't erupt. That pressure just builds and builds and builds, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps pushing, and it is a nightmare. So, Peter, you say some. I've got 9 abscesses in my jaw. Whoa! After 3 hours, they put me out to remove 9 teeth. Took 6 hours. Oh man! Ooh, that's a lot of teeth. Boy, tooth pain is really, really bad. What I'm going to read now is just some mental characteristics, traits, about people with Rh negative blood, and you can let me know if you agree, disagree. Hey, Schaefer. Glad you made it. I said the high empathy level. Love truth and seek truth. They're not materialistic. Just fame, fortune, titles, status doesn't mean much to me. Feel others' pain. Yes. Empathy. Being able to literally put yourself in someone else's situation, to see things, not just see things from their viewpoint, but to actually feel what they feel, to share in their pain. That would be the number one thing that I think that most, if not all, Rh negatives have to a certain extent. Some off the charts. Another is we love animals, and animals love us. Children too. It's like, well, I've met a few mean kids. But as far as animals, dogs, I've never met a dog that was going to bite me, or supposedly mean dogs. Not with me. And Mom, you say my birds adore me. My mom, she has birds, parrots, and yes, and it's children, elderly people, well, really anybody. They they just walk up to me and start talking, and just share their life story. Or they might walk up to me or contact me, and ask me for my advice on a problem they're having, which is fine. But I'm thinking, okay, when I'm in the store, how do they know, what I look like everybody else? So, what is it that they strange? I sometimes wonder if I've got a sign on the back of my head that says, free advice, or talk to me, or, which, I mean, I don't mind that. I mean, I love it, but it's very strange. And have you had, like a total stranger walk up to you in the, say, like a public place, and just say something like, you are special, or this is one that I've heard, was this old woman, well, actually, this old woman in a nursing home, and then a woman in Walmart just walked up to me, and she says, many are called, but few are chosen. And walked off. And I'm standing there going, that just did not happen. I mean, that's freaky. So I go to ask her what that meant. And she was very nonchalant about it. She says, it means what I said. Many are called, but few are chosen. So my question is what do people see in us? What do we radiate, like a beacon? Let me catch up with this here. Peter, you say, my cousin died in China of a brain bleed. I lay awake seeing a sea of blood at exactly that time. Lovely the way birds and animals talk to most of us. They're all waiting too. Lovely. Mommy say, I helped a lady yesterday walking down the road. I offered her a ride. Then I found out she was 90. She has no family. I told her, you do now. Oh, that's good. That's good. Patricia, you say, they just know. Yep, I've had that babies stare at me intently too. Me too. That is so cool. Older adults have commented on my personality just after a bit of interaction. They feel kindness from us. Yes. Yes, same as me. I was told we could see rainbows. They see us seeing. That's why they gravitate. Babies we can comfort. Well, I love it when I'm somewhere and there's a baby like in a little carrier or whatever, and the baby just looks at me like, sup, and I look at the baby like, sup, and it may seem weird, but it's like that baby is telling me, I know you, and I know you know me. I'm just in this little body right now, but you know, I'll be kicking it soon. And maybe not in those terms, but I mean, there's a lot more there than just a little baby, you know. I mean, and the smile, you know, the baby can be like just so mad, you know, or throwing a fit. And I just not even smiling myself. Usually when a baby screams or crying or something, you know, I'll just, ugh. And they'll just look at me and I'll be, well, you know, all I can do is smile. I mean, they do. Babies know. Patricia, you say I literally comment when babies stare, but I smile about it, of course. They either smile or just stare. Yeah, that stare is something. It really is. Spiritual characteristics. Love spirituality, dislike religion, love freedom, dislike authority. Now, I'm not talking about just authority. I'm talking about abusive authority. Love peace, dislike war. Love justice, hate injustice. Have a sense of a mission in life. And that's something I've always had. A mission. Oh, that's something, Peter. Yes, a sense of a mission in life is a huge one. One thing too, as far as the physical, hate loud sounds, noises. With me, I have a very sensitive hearing, and it's to the point that most of the time I have to wear earplugs, and I still hear. I still hear too much. As far as loud music, like going to a club with music blaring or whatever, no way. No way. I can't even stand for the TV to be loud. Sometimes people when they're talking, they talk so loud, and it just, ugh. I can hear it's just crazy. Stay up late. Peter, you say you probably have bone conduction. Well, maybe so. It's something that's really affects my life. Stay up late. Okay, Mom. Love you too. Patty say it was measured. Patricia, you say, is it a sign that you get annoyed from loud noises, or is it mainly from anxiety that happens? No, it's it doesn't even have to be a loud noise. It's loud to me because my hearing is so sensitive. But like I said, it can be someone talking to me, and I feel like they're yelling at me, but they're not. And it's just that my hearing is so sensitive. Oh, okay. I probably need to get mine checked. Bone conduction. Stay up late or stay up till the early morning. Hate small talk. That's me. If I don't have something to say, I'm not going to small talk. I have no problem in being silent. I'm not being rude. I'm just not going to chit chat. I don't do that. Why? Well, people say, well, it's just being polite. No, it's not. Not to me. Because that person, they don't want to they don't want to small talk either. So why am I going to make them feel like that they have to talk to me? I'm fine just to sit there and not say a word. Loners. Maybe count very good friends they've had in their life on one hand. Yes, classical music, the music of the spheres. Love knowledge. A vivid imagination. Now that's something I want to talk about. Is that's next to empathy, probably right up there with empathy. The vivid imagination. Now, knowledge is power, right? I mean, we all agree on that. Knowledge is power. But even Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Because where does knowledge come from? Where is knowledge? Where is knowledge born? First, it's conceived. It's conceived. Imagination. Peter, you say visual memory too. Visual memory. I think you're talking like a very good, almost like a photographic memory or photogenic memory, whatever, photographic memory. That's something I have, and it's not always a good thing either. It's like I archive everything like a Memorex, just taking in information, data. But think about that. Think about the imagination. Imagination. What is imagination? You are exercising your mind. You are exercising your consciousness. You're expanding your consciousness. And that's why that I haven't watched TV in, oh wow, 18, 19 years. I'm not going to do it. I have no reason to. I don't have anything against people that do, but it's just I don't know. I have, you know, things to think about. I have things to solve or research, things that matter, not sitting and watching a sitcom or watching actors live a life on the screen that I wish I was living. No, I try to put that in action for me. So if that makes sense. You say DNA vivid, every sense is enhanced, not what if, but what is. Esoteric knowledge. Yes. We hate lies and many have experienced lucid dreaming, where you are awake or you wake up in your dream and you know you're dreaming, but you stay in the dream and you can do anything. Now, with me, it's happened, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 times. But every time it was just awesome. Talking flying, anything that you can think of, because you're in a dream, you can do. I mean, it's amazing. Lucid dreaming. You say 12 times getting out was hard. Getting out of what, Paid? I'm not really sure. But many are okay. Getting out of the dream was hard. Well, that would be frightening. It certainly would be. Many RH negatives have been the visionaries or the revolutionaries the world has seen, like Tesla and others. So go figure. Many people thought that Tesla was an alien, and he certainly had knowledge that not many are privileged to have. But anyway, okay. Yes, every president, RH negative. The royal family, RH negative. Now, that brings me to a point I'd like to share, is that it is my belief that there are two different RH negatives. There's the controllers. They're the stiff-lipped, kind of hard line, no feeling, like they don't, they don't cry like Queen Elizabeth, like I said, the royal family. you know, you're not going to see them break down and cry. I mean, it's just, you know, but on the other end of the spectrum, you have people that are very prone to being very emotional, and they have no problem in doing so. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed about just because you're emotional. I mean, but that's okay. You say pathways are opposite. Beta, you say, why are we called demons? Why are we called demons? Well, this is what I was, you know, going back to, is that back in 2017, I was in a empath, you know, spiritual group on Facebook. It was a large group, and we were putting our you know, face pictures, you know, pictures of our, you know, selfies up for, you know, people to look at and read, you know, different things, you know, about our personality or things. And this guy, this man, he freaked out when he saw mine. He says, I know what you are. I'm like, wow. He says, you're a viper. He says, you're one of the Nephilim bloodline. He says, those green eyes. And I'm thinking, oh man. And I said, well, tell me more. He says, you just want to destroy. He said, you know, that's all you want to do is just destroy. And I said, I don't want to destroy anything. I said, wow, Jenny, thank you for joining us. You say I have green eyes. O negative. Me too. Paida, same way. Patricia, I believe, has green eyes, and but yeah, it's just it's very strange, to say the least, how we are so very much alike. I mean, but green eyes are 1% or less of the population. The red hair gene is also like 1% of the population. I have the red hair gene, and I have the green eyes. Now I don't have like all red hair, but I do have the red hair gene. I have streaks. Wow, golden red. And then there's been since 1961, there's been less than 50 people that have been documented having RH null blood. So you can imagine that my doctors, when they found out my blood type, they were shocked, to say the least. And then my wife at the time, um, she she had 2 miscarriages, so we went to a leading fertility clinic, and world renowned. We had blood test and genetic test, and what really freaked the doctors out more than my blood was my genetic makeup. And that's a whole nother story. Yeah, I guarantee you, when they opened her test results, everything was fine. They opened mine and they said, Mr. Moore, we're going to have to do a second test on yours. Your test has somehow been compromised. And really? Why is that? Well, these are just, something happened. We apologize. Not sure. But yeah. So we go back, and they open the second test results, and the 2 doctors, it was a husband and wife team, and their nurse, they all jumped back, and the nurse screamed, just, ah! And I said, what's wrong? And the doctor, the husband, he said, nothing. And I said, oh yeah, something's wrong. I said, I saw that. She screamed. I said, what is it? And he said, you just have a very rare blood type. He says, can I send your test results to our mentor in Chicago? He says, and have him look at your, results. I said, sure, I don't mind. And well, he did, and just to make a long story short, their mentor, he told him, he says, you almost got me. Good, nice try. And they said, this is not a practical joke. So we're not joking. Said those test results are of the man that is sitting in our office right now. And if you want to feel very strange, try this. Try having a doctor tell you, and this is verbatim, he said, I told him that the test results he had, the man was sitting in my office, and he said, if you're not kidding, he says, then the one who is sitting in your office is not a man. No kidding. Now that, you want to talk about feeling different. That, yeah. And so come to find out, I'm RH null, O negative, whatever. And, but my wife was B positive. Okay. Never in history. And if you can find it, if you can find one case, that's fine. Please share it with me, because I have looked and looked and looked for 18 years, and I've never found any case of it. Of a negative man having any problem having children with a positive woman. it's usually a negative woman and a positive man that she has to take, you know. Yeah. Jenny, you say I was born with bright red hair and blue eyes, then turned blonde. Huh. Thank you, Beta. Jenny, you say, yep, I always say humans are crazy. I'm from Mars. Okay. I'm glad you said that. And just, see, I'm gonna hold that thought just for a second. But yes. And so I said, so you're telling me that I can't have children? And he said, no, you can, but only with a woman like you. And he said, and that would be like finding a grain of sand on all the beaches of the world. I said, that's so impossible. And he says, not impossible. I said, well, yeah, it's pretty much impossible. And, you know, so anyway, yeah. So the, it's not so much my blood type, it's my genetic makeup that just doesn't go. You say, Jenny, you say, oh, well, I happen to be wanting to have my eggs removed and frozen. I'm a universal donor. Oh, good for you. Patty, you say, in the 70s, they took so much blood, I got really sick, but I'm not null. You must be clean, original bloodline. My son had no problem. He's an egg. His wife's B positive, 2 healthy children. Well, see, so it's, you know, like I said, it's not so much the blood, unless it is the null, but what they told me was that the what was more shocking than being null was my genetic markers and genetic makeup. And I said, well, what's wrong with it? And they said, it's anomalous. They said, it's all over the place. They said, you know, what's up is down and what's down is up. What should be straight is crooked. And said, nothing is, you know, as it should be. And I said, okay. And he said, you know, he said, I'm not being rude. He says, but there's no biological, there's no medical, there's no scientific, he says, standard by all, you know, known standards. He said, couldn't even classify you as a human being. Okay. I always knew I was different, but I guess, you know, it's you know, aim for the stars. That's all I can say, you know. So I knocked it out of the park on that one. But I said, okay. I said, so what am I exactly? And he said, we simply don't know. And the mood just changed. I mean, in the room, I mean, they were very standoffish, almost like they were scared. And my wife at the time, she said, she, you know, leaned over and she says, I'm feeling really threatened. She said, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. And I said, Yeah, I said it wouldn't surprise me if I said guys with rifles and hazmat suits came in. I mean, that's how it was. I mean, it's like they were looking at me like I was gonna infect them, or I have no idea. But they were not friendly when they opened the test results, and they were the same. And so anyway, I left. We left rather abruptly, and so I called them back about 2 years later when I found out that my wife didn't have my test results. And I asked them about my, if I could get copies of my test results. They didn't have them. And I said, you don't have my test results? No. They were damaged or something. And I said, nothing? I mean, nope, nothing. Well, damaged, lost, whatever, just means archived, you know. That's what I think. So, yeah, national secret, right? But anyway, which brings me to my next point about Rh negatives, is that the targeted individuals, and I've talked with quite a few people who have contacted me saying that they are targeted, and that they're hit with, or they have different things that are used on them. Jenny, you say, I'm assuming you all want to know the secret. The mystery schools are, right. Well, that's, the secret, I believe, is that, you say the mystery schools are hiding our past cataclysms, in my opinion, micronovas that change DNA. I think so too. And you say the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas. Paid, you say I flatlined for 20 minutes and there was a terrible argument. Okay. This is my opinion, is that that whatever the Bible talks about, and not only the Bible, but in the Sumerian text, every ancient text talks about, excuse me, talks about when the sons of God, when the angels, now just wait, because when I say use the term angel, I'm actually talking about an ultra dimensional being, is and you say, Jenny, you say it's a declassified CIA document. Also watch Dipole Foundation channel recent videos on this. I will. But the it's I think that it goes back to Mount um, Mount Hermon, which is Mount Sion, and what it's talking about is it's talking about ultra dimensional beings, advanced beings, and I think that there's some kind of technology, advanced technology to do with it. It's not just magic, you know. But says, and they saw that the daughters of men were fair, and they took of them wives, any of which they chose, and had children by them. Now, people, they say, okay, well, that means that if that's the case, then you're evil. No, it doesn't. That's there were supposedly there were 200 watcher angels on Mount Hermon that that fell. They incarnated into flesh, and you know, left spirit, which in the book of Enoch it says you were born of fire and you became clay. Born of fire, born of spirit. And you say, but we're not giants. That's another thing, is I don't believe that they were huge giants. I believe that they were giants intellectually and spiritually, is what I think, because of their lineage. I think that the huge body, you know, giant, I think that that's to throw everybody off, like disinfo from way back. But the right, Jenny, absolutely. But it's there were 200 supposedly that fell, that were evil, but not all the watchers were evil. So you know, just like if you have a great grandfather that's that was a bad guy, does that make your grandfather a bad guy? Does that make your dad a bad guy? Does that make you a bad person? No. We don't have free will. I mean, so trust me. I mean, if the going gets bad, I will be right there with you, if not in front of you. So don't think I'm gonna split and run or have any kind of ill intentions towards anybody, unless they, you know, unless they're trying to hurt my family or my friends or someone else. I mean, I just, you know, let's see. Jenny, you say the Oppenheimer Ranch project channel is great also. Our son has cycles. We are heading into one now. Okay. Yes. You say I become more spiritual, the more science I learn. Science is proving the ancient text. They just don't realize it yet. That's true. And what is very interesting is that that science is they are proving the ancient text, but they're taking their time because they won't embrace it. And the same thing with the church. They won't embrace, science. So it's like they're chasing each other's tails. If they would come together, Einstein, Oppenheimer, Teller, they all read the ancient texts about subatomic particles, quantum physics. Yeah. Quantum mechanics is magic. That's right. Patty, you said, I didn't look for you. The screen came alive and I've been really lost. Really? You just, wow. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Let me make sure I'm seeing this right. Amy Jo, thank you for joining us. You say, I also believe that our sun is going through a major cycle. I also believe the secret societies know exactly when this event's taking place. It's amazing you said that. You use the term the event. The event. Now, I'm astonished because you use that term. The event. Well, it could be, but if it isn't, it's going to be something just as astounding. I mean, it's like Nicholas Haywood of the Priory of Sion said, there is an event coming. He says, and when it happens, he said, no one's going to have to look at the person next to him and say, was that the event? He said, everybody's going to know. And this journalist said, in my lifetime, and I think this guy was like my age, 50, and he says, possibly, quite possibly, he says, yes, in your lifetime. Jenny, you say 2046 between September and December, thanks the guy from the Dipole Foundation channel. He decoded it from the Torah. Okay. The sun with solar flares and things like that. I mean, it could be, but one thing that that would be even more disastrous than a huge solar flare. I mean, I'm not talking about the sun rebirthing itself, but would be a direct hit from a gamma ray, like a supernova. Gamma ray hit the Earth. Hey, but yeah, that's it's very strange that you said the event. And that's something else is you say a cacophony of catastrophes all happen at once. Yes, the earth stops spinning. Is look at the movies that have been made. You know, The Day the Earth Stood Still. That was made like back in the 50s. Then the remake, you know. There's a lot of information that is passed to the public through movies, and you know, we take it as, well, it's just all entertainment. No, they're actually trying to tell us something. I mean, so, but targeted individuals are usually highly intelligent with imagination. Truth seekers, they question the status quo, disagree with authority. They have the mindset right is right and wrong is wrong, no matter who you are. Haiti, you said we're in touch. I never look for you. I will admit that is very strange. Or is it? Maybe maybe you were meant to find this channel and hear this, which should really make you feel very good, because that means that you say that you've been really lost. Well, that means that you're not lost. So, Jenny, you say, then it goes the other direction, but the waters keep going and wash over the continents. Revelation says something like, no mountain or island will remain in place. The continents detach. The seven seals, the seven continents, in my opinion. Okay. The seven seals, seven churches, seven candlesticks. Also the seven chakras. Also the seven bodily systems that we have. So, yeah. As above, so below. As on earth, as it is in heaven. So it's what happens on earth affects us same way. In my opinion, that's exactly what it's saying. But one thing that it says in Revelation, I believe it's chapter 20, verse 10, says, and I stood on the shore of the sea, and I heard him say that time shall be no more. And that's something that I have always thought about, that I've always, I don't know, researched, been very interested in, is time. It is, like Einstein said, it's an illusion, and time shall be no more. But so what happens with these people that are, you know, targeted? Most have very few friends, family, money, or resources. Their career is sabotaged. They suffer character assassination, and become isolated for the intent to break them, to break them down. You take a person's family, friends. Isolation can really, really do a lot to you. Then you say you can get the Adam and Eve story written in the 70s off of the CIA website. You have to read it. The Oppenheimer Ranch Project channel guy is a paleoclimatologist and geologist. He gives you the new data. Okay, I'm going to look that up when we get through here. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, thank you very much. That's very interesting. And then Amy, you say the reason I say is because all ancient mythology has the same beliefs, just different names. I've been studying this and the megastructures in America. Right. And then you say, Amy, you say, but I am also RH negative. I have experienced that I was targeted absolutely to the point of death. Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that. I mean, I'm glad that you're still with us. Yeah, I would like to talk with you sometime if you're comfortable with talking. I mean, you don't know me, so, but I've talked with several people that were targeted, and some still are, but anyway, they want to break a person. They want to break their will to live, their will to exist. So what happens is, what happens when you break down? You go for help. Where do you go for help? Psychiatrist, right? Okay, you ask any psychiatrist, how many patients have you cured? None. There's not one psychiatrist that will tell you that they have cured any patient. Why? Curing them doesn't bring them back. You know, one reason why that psychiatrists are so wealthy is because when you are a patient of a psychiatrist, you know, it's not, well, okay, in 6 months, I'm going to be fine. Are you? Well, you would be, but you're not led to believe that. It's almost like a form of hypnosis. And some psychiatrists are very skilled hypnotists. I'm not kidding. It's almost like neuro-linguistic programming, which is another way of hypnotism. And what happens is there is a there's a blending between your energy and the psychiatrist's energy. It's oh, the term left me, but it's you literally mesh. And how long does that doctor, does that psychiatrist treat you? The rest of your life. The rest of your life. How much money is that? Well, when you've got, what, 300 patients that you, or hell, even 100 that you see each month, maybe, I don't know. Say 50 patients a month, and you're charging $250 an hour. Money, money, money. What are you doing though, really? Not being cured, being treated. No, not at all. I would never cut anyone off. You said the screen went blank for a minute. No, don't be scared. I'm not cutting anybody off. So, okay, let's see. Amy, you say they took everything, but in retrospect, I started studying the RH bloodline and origins. I've always knew things before they happened, still do, and thought I was crazy. And the church told me I was a witch. Oh man. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the church. You're a witch. If it had been me, I would have been, just, am I a witch? No. Somebody going to call me one? Hey, I can be one. Yeah. That's just, that's mean, rude, and I abhor ugliness, rudeness. It costs nothing to be polite. It costs nothing to be respectful. And when somebody is rude, let's just say, I wish I'd been there. Oh man, I would have had fun, because I have to admit, I've indulged when I've been called things like that, and it's crazy. But I'm sorry that you went through that. Jenny, you say micronova gives new meaning to star child. Star child. Do you think that Aleister Crowley might have known something about a micronova or supernova that was coming when he talked about the star child or wrote about star child? Who knows? He was very cryptic. Amy, you say, I'm at peace today because what they did was make me realize there is a secret agenda. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Crowley is, he was very knowledgeable, and but he didn't use it for good. I mean, he loved to indulge and loved to play with people's mind. I mean, he was the original shock jock, I believe, but certainly twisted. But as far as reading him, I wouldn't advise it myself. That's some heavy duty reading, and most of it is, in my opinion, is aimed at your subconscious. You can read it and read it and read it. You don't really understand it, but your subconscious does. Yeah. So, but I've had people that have contacted me asking me if that, or telling me that they want to have their DNA tested, and they were going to do the swab and send their DNA. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's what they want. They want your DNA. They're very, very interested in your genetics and your DNA. And then I've had people say, well, they've already got it. So, if you were a child, if you're a baby born in the United States, they prick your heel and take your blood, your DNA. Yeah. And, they do it every birth. And, well, Peter, Rh negatives cannot be cloned. Cannot be cloned. But, yes, because, good point, Amy, because I tell them don't do it. And they said, well, why? They've already got my DNA. Exactly. The reason that they want it now is to compare it when you were born, to see if you have activated any latent DNA. And if you have, well, you're really going to be targeted, because that's what they want to know. They want to know how to activate the latent DNA. And that is the $1 million question. They can't figure it out. That's just like, yeah, Jenny. Ooh, yeah. And one thing about time and space, okay? There are portals. Trust me on that, okay? Not that I've been through one, but I was doing research back in 2007 on portals, time, space, portals. And there are 13, there's 12, but there's a master And I was doing it on my laptop. It was like 2:30 in the morning. And I have like 8 locations. I know where they're at, you know. And all of a sudden, my computer goes black from the top down. And I'm like, and my cell phone rings. And I answer it. It says private number. I answer it. And this like deep voiced, heavy German accent, he says, "We know what you're doing." I'm like, oh yeah, this is funny. I thought somebody's playing a practical joke on me. And I said, ha ha. And he says, I said, "Who is this?" And he says, "This is no joke. We know what you're doing." And I said, you know, screw you. And he says, "We can have a team at your front door in 10 minutes and take you in." And I said, "Who is this?" Because he was very convincing. And I said, you know, "Who is this?" And he says, "This is Special Agent Frankfurt. I have Special Agent Berlin, Special Agent Munich," you know, German city names. You know, and I said, "Okay, what are your credentials?" He just named them off. Boom, 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 boom. Thinking, man, this guy's good. And I said, "And are you with," I'm not going to say the name, but 3-letter agency. And he says, no. We have no name." He says, "Think more in terms of global instead of country." Thinking, man, okay. So when he said, "We can have a team at your front door in 10 minutes," I said, "Okay, come on." And I don't know why I said that. After I said it, I was like, oh man, why did I say that? And I said, but you and I both know that we don't want that. And he says, "Yes, you're right. We don't." I'm like, what? What's he doing agreeing with me? I thought, oh man, that was the worst thing I could have said, you know. It was very strange because it was like a mutual respect for some reason. I have no idea. But that's it. It got really, really in depth. And I said, "Why are you bothering me?" And he says, "Let's just say that you know more than the average citizen, and we're making sure you keep your nose clean." I said, "Well, okay." He says, "We've been monitoring you a long time." Well, when I was in kindergarten, in like 1st grade, it's very strange because there were 2 men that would they wore suits, and they would come every week to our house, and they would bring me a coloring book to color. And if I colored it within the week, you know, by the next week, I would win a prize, like a little camera or something that they would show me in this book. But the coloring books were very strange because it would be like a family would be out, you know, like in the woods or, you know, and there would be like the sun, and then there would be like UFOs, like a UFO would be in the sky, or there would be like an alien gray that would be like standing in the woods or looking out from behind the tree or whatever. And they would both watch me look at those books, look at the coloring books. What I thought was funny, even at that age, was they thought they were monitoring me. I was monitoring them. And I remember them. I'm brown suits, not black, brown suits, kind of dressed alike. Matter of fact, they kind of even looked alike and drove like a government, car. What's strange is that program here in Texas, that program was found out to be a front for a government organization. So, for gifted children. So when this special agent, Frankfurt, says, we've been monitoring you a long time, I said, and I know when you started. I said, you're part of the program. And oh man, this guy knew my mother's maiden name. He knew my social security number. He knew everything about me. It's pretty strange. So anyway, it goes on and on and on. And he says, well, he said, just want to touch base. And he says, we'll be seeing you in the future. And I said, I know. Click. And my computer comes back on. So, let's see. Amy, you say, I'm the only one out of 5 kids that has negative blood. Is this normal? Well, I'm not really sure. I know that 2, positive parents can have negative children because they have the negative recessive gene. One does, or maybe both do. So it's kind of like a hit and miss with the other children, but to be 1 out of 5, that's pretty rare. I would think. Let's see. Let's see. Paida, you say, I didn't see a hole. I saw a red shift wavering some meters away. Then it was gone. But you must be the only one to know than them all. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you're talking about. And then you see, Amy, you say, I was just thinking this happened to me. They came to my school, but they showed me pictures of different shapes, and they would ask me what I seen in the picture. They were also in suits, and 2 of them. There you go. Peter, you say, is your sight different? Your color sense, maybe some ultraviolet and beyond. My color sense I think is pretty normal. Jenny, you say I was reading The Wizard of Oz in kindergarten in the corner by myself. Paida, you say my feeling is they're tracking us through you. That's okay. Tracking you through me, or I'm not sure what you mean by that. If they're tracking you, they've been tracking you long before you tuned into this channel. Amy, you say my dad always kept me close, like he knew he died 2 years ago. Gosh, I wish I could tell him what I know now. Well, I wish you could too. There's so much that I wish I could tell my grandmother. We were very close. My grandfather and different, friends that have passed on. Oh, now I wish I could, but anyway. You say, my father had a blood transfusion when he was 10. He was believed to have Rh negative blood before the transfusion. Oh, the portals. Well, I didn't see them in person, but I know where they're at. And where the main one is. And this is the deal about that, is that that I believe that it takes a person that has Rh negative blood for some reason to activate those portals. Take someone that knows how to activate those portals. Now, that goes back to the Bible, to the priesthood, to the Levite priesthood. And there are many people, many researchers that have concluded that the Levite priesthood were all Rh negative. Well, they were the only ones who could carry the Ark of the Covenant. Even with the long, staves, they were the only ones that could carry the Ark. And Ark, A-R-K, also Ark, A-R-C, Ark of electricity. How did the Ark kill? Electricity. Ark. Also arch. What is so amazing about an arch? It's a paradox, isn't it? Because at its weakest point is the keystone. When that keystone is placed in, the arch becomes strong. The weakest point becomes the strong point. Think about that. Jenny, you say, is there a portal in the U.S.? Where is it at? Whoa. There's actually 3 in the U.S., but I'm not going to say that publicly, because that's what got me. That's what caught their attention and got me. You can send me an email at the texarcistpodcast@gmail.com, and I'd be glad to let you know there. Jenny, you say, I think the ark is a radioactive or previously radioactive meteorite that smites people. I think it's in Mecca, in that black cube. There's a box with the exact dimensions to fit the ark. Mecca has one. The king's coffer in the Great Pyramid is the exact dimensions of the Ark of the Covenant. And if you look at that, you see where it looks like that the granite has melted in the corner. You know, to melt granite, yeah, that has to be some massive heat, like a maser or something like that. But well, that's just the say that the pyramid was robbed. So let's see, Peggy, you say, so they have the same function. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about the vortex of Aaron or what? Yes. Well, the ark was mainly a yes and no. I think that the pyramid could be used as a military okay. Well, in my opinion, I think that the Great Pyramid was looted and robbed a long time ago. I mean, it's really, really sickening how I don't know. Seemingly just as soon as it was made, it was well, I say just as soon as it was made, probably within, I don't know, 100, 200 years after it was completed. No telling what took place. But you have to say one thing about it. It is full of it's full of facts. I mean, very, very exact facts. And that's one thing that I love about mathematics, equations, and numbers. They don't lie. Numbers do not lie. Let's see. Tips Wave 34 portal in Mount Shasta. You said it. Okay, Amy. You say, what makes granite such a valuable stone? I read the Forgotten Books of Moses, and he definitely used supernatural knowledge. Granite is a conductor of electricity because of the crystal or the gypsum in it. Yeah. Quartz, yes. Crystal, quartz crystal. Yes, and that's why that these obelisks that you see that are erected, they're said to all be joined, by electrical signal, no matter how far it is or whatever. That's why they are all in alignment, is because they actually transmit like antennas, and it goes not just transmit, but they receive power from the earth, because if yes, ley lines. Thank you, Jenny. Yes, ley lines. And which are called dragon lines, and but ley lines are very powerful. But they take electricity. Well, they take electromagnetic energy from the earth, because the earth, you have the North Pole, the South Pole. It's a battery. I mean, Tesla proved that. He said, give me what was it, $100,000, and he says, and I'll light up the whole world. He said, I'll give free electricity, and it's free. Oh, you're out of here. Nothing for free, buddy. And yes, so you have the negative, you have the positive, you have it's very strange. It's like a blueprint. The atomic, the atom, the electron, the proton, the neutron, the positive, the negative, the neutral, that microscopic, atomic, on the atomic level, and then the earth, same thing. Batteries. What's quanta? Light, right? Quantum mechanics, quarks. It all goes back to positive, negative, neutrality. The proton, neutron, electron. What's really, really strange is just crazy. Hold on just a second. Let me see here. Um, hmm. Um, the this is so mind blowing, but if you think about it, it's really not. But it will sure change your thinking on a lot of things, and that is hold on just a second. Is Einstein said that there can be no experiment that is not compromised, because the observer, they affect the outcome just by observing. Their consciousness affects the outcome, right? So the double slit experiment, if you haven't checked that out, check it out. You know, there's waves that are sent through two slits, and when they go through the slits, some turn to particles when they're observed. They change. What changes them? Whoa. Do they have, do those particles, do those waves have consciousness? No. The observers do. The ones doing the test, they changed it. They're the ones that did it. Their consciousness. That's freaky, okay? It's also very empowering, but at the same time, it is freaky, okay? But it's true. All right. Now, take that and think about what an atom is. What is an atom? An atom is a, this is so amazing. It is and this is going to really look horrible, but okay. Okay, so it's like this, you know. All right. And then when you look at that, look at this is one tiny proton going in this. So at any given time, none of this is even here. This is just the pattern. Same thing here, nothing here. Same thing with all three. So 99% of the atom is empty, right? I mean, you have all the movement, but it's empty, right? Everything's made of atoms. So it's moving, but what does that mean? It means it's 99% empty, which means that it's your consciousness. It's not there. Your consciousness makes it real. Einstein went so far as to say, this is what shook the world, is when you're not looking at it, it's not there. I mean, it is and it isn't. It exists, but it doesn't exist. It's actually a possibilities. But when you observe it, it's there. So that means we create reality. Our consciousness does, which is wow. And then, yes, let's see, Jenny, you say PBS space time channel, the quantum eraser that rewrites time. They couldn't trick the particles. They could tell the future. Think tarot cards, giving you a whole playlist. Yeah. They expanded on the double slit experiment. Amazing. Another good series of videos to watch called The Primer Fields. Thank you. But there has to be an original observer, God. That's right. God, the creator, the source, whatever. But that's true. But with everything that we have now, it is digital, pixels, bits of light. Jenny, you say, put this in your pipe and smoke it. Upon the moment of our death, we quantum observe what we deserve. It's the ultimate free will. It's beautiful. Definitely, Amy, you say definitely a greater creator. Absolutely. What we think we deserve. Right. Absolutely. You can read complex music instantly. We do create reality. Water, yes, water is very, water can be programmed, and we're what, 70% or more water? What does that tell you? If you want to activate your latent DNA, and it's not junk, by the way, it's not junk DNA. It's just that they don't know, they can't read it. Oh, it's just junk. That's ignorance. That's ignorance. Knowledge is light. Ignorance is darkness. And that's ignorance. Yes. But if you want to activate your latent DNA, it's so, I don't know how to say it. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. But you have to have the desire, the focus, and the intent to do so. But it's not something that you can push, because when you start to force it, it stops. It's not something that people say, well, I want it, and I want it now. It's the number one problem, in my opinion, with the world today, is so many people. And I don't blame them. I mean, really, I used to be the same way. We get fast food. We get microwave when we're home. We get, our coffees like boom, boom, boom. Every single thing is so fast. I mean, we boom, boom, boom. This does not come fast. There's people that they want to take shortcuts. They want to cut corners. Why? Because they want it now. They want it now. Can't do it. Cannot do it. And if anybody tells you you can, they're lying to you. Don't believe them. And they can make it sound really, really good, but it's a lie. But I would say that the desire, the intent, and the right reasons are really all you need. But imagination, and it all comes together. I don't know. It's very, very difficult to explain. But Jenny, you say a single drop of water has memory and feelings. The ice crystal experiments. Yes, we are full of water. Absolutely. I want that Japanese scientist to freeze blood maybe and see what happens. Emma Soru Monosoto or something like that is his name. I never can remember his name. Yes. One thing about what you said, Peter, you say, talk about Lucifer, the light bearer. In Genesis chapter 1, where it says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light, and he saw it was good, and, right, darkness was first, but then he says, let there be light. What do you think that light was? Do you think it was light like the sun light? No. The sun, the stars, the celestial bodies, they weren't made until what, the fifth or sixth day? The fifth day, I believe. So what was that? What was that light? To bring light to the darkness. The Hebrew word for light in Genesis chapter 1 actually it's like double reference. It can mean this light here, but that's proof positive that it's not talking about a visible light. It's talking about knowledge, data. And that's exactly what it means, is darkness was ignorance, chaos, and light was knowledge. Where there's knowledge, there's, order. I mean, the word to bring light to the darkness. And when there's light, the darkness must flee. Enlightened, yes. And when you are enlightened, you're full of light. You're full of knowledge, and it's not just book knowledge. It's it's a spiritual knowledge that surpasses any general standard teaching or anything like that. It's what I was talking about at the very start. It's truth. It's truth. And that truth is, I believe, is written on our hearts. It's innate. It's within us. And when I say heart, I'm not talking about the physical heart. I'm talking about the spirit, which is what we are. You are not your body. You are spirit. When you look in the mirror, you're not looking at you. You're looking at the three-dimensional vehicle that you use to get around in this world. You are much more than your body. And that's, yes. And that is so powerful. When your body dies, when it stops working, like all machines do, are you going to die? No, you're immortal. Your spirit. Stop thinking, oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. You're not going to die. That's what I tell people all the time. I joke around a lot, I tell people I'm immortal, and they laugh, and I laugh, but I'm serious. And I'm thinking, okay, well, when you hear that Shane has died, laugh, because I'm going to be laughing. Yeah, you think that I'm this body? Oh, I'm a barrel of monkeys and a lot more. Yes. The only thing that will happen when this body breaks and stops working is it allows the light to escape, the spirit. Yes. And I am not dead. So, yes, a host. Yes. And we all have to have one. We all have to have one, a vehicle, earthly tabernacle, whatever you want to call it. Jenny, you say that is interesting about Crowley. Yes, I think he was one who knew, and he would have figured it out on his own if he wasn't told. I figured it out before I knew about the Adam and Eve story. Well, Um, I'm I'm not I'm really not actually certain what you figured out, but I will say that religion, not spirituality, but organized religion, has misguided purposefully millions, has caused more bloodshed, more death, killing, murder, torture than anything ever. And I'll just, look at the Inquisition. I mean, man, yeah. And I'm not bowing to any pope. No, not going to. He's a man just like I am. I'm gonna kiss his ring. Don't count on it. Yeah, just not gonna do it. Crowley was, yeah, he was very well. He was a genius. I mean, yeah. Oh, I'm glad. Thank you. That's what I love is people that say, I get it, and I absolutely get it. I'm really, really, really glad. Jenny, you say you just have to see the megaliths and cave dwellings perched high on the side of the cliff, the pyramid shape, only structure that can stand wave action. There was a reason the ancients went both underground and high up. Solar radiation and mega floods. You say, always envisioned a little ball of massive energy inside us. I put a vision upon my spirit to make it a reality. Well, you're right. I mean, yeah, you are right. And you say confessing your sins. Well, that's a good way to, keep your conscience clear. So yeah, that's good. Patty, you say you started to talk about the 2 negative lines. Oh, yeah, not the Pope. Jenny, one thing about the megaliths, this is going to blow your mind. There is a structure that many people, they have no idea it exists, simply because it's so large. When I say large, the Great Pyramid is what, 13 acres, give or take? There is a 5-pointed star that points upward, by the way, in France, southern France, northern Spain. Each point is a mountain peak, and it is literally within inches of being a perfect star. Now, these mountains, these granite mountains, they have signs of literally being like welded. There's beads. You can see where the rock has been mazered. Okay. Mountain peaks to form this. And the way that it was discovered, in my opinion, is Renaissance painters back, well, actually before that, they were encoding this. It's an outer sanctuary is what it is. It's a holy place, but it's an outside open door enclosure, very sacred. And someone, when maps came out, when planes were taking aerial, someone took these paintings and laid them over Cassini's map, and they're like, oh my God, this can't be. I mean, these aren't buildings. These aren't markers that you nail. These are mountain peaks. 40 miles. Well, that's you say see, Amy, you say Cahokia Mounds. What do you think about them? Cahokia Mounds. I don't know about Cahokia Mounds. Maybe you can explain. I don't know anything about that. Jenny, you say check out the Geopalm Institute video, chemical analysis of Perna. Hold on. Perna Punku, Puma Punku. They were melting rock with acid, mixing it into clay using rubber back guano to reharden it and molded the H blocks. But that's all good and everything. But how do you move a mountain? I mean, a mountain, not bricks, but I'm talking huge mountains. I mean, these mountains have been like cut and somehow moved and put on another mountain. That's good. Right. As far as okay, Monk's Mound. Okay. I don't know, since those are earthen. I think that those could be man-made. I mean, it would take a lot of men, a lot of time, but it would still be a monumental task. Well, chance that sound waves moving the stones, maybe, but to move mountains, oh man, I just that's that's beyond me. Um, the let's see. There was something I was going to say about the oh, Coral Castle, Edley Scallion. He built, Coral Castle down in Florida, and if you haven't read about him, you need to because he probably weighed about 100 pounds. He was very, very small man, and moved these huge coral pieces that weighed tons. And many people say that he moved them by using sound, sound waves or whatever. But yes, but Amy, you say the Bible says we can move mountains if we believe we can. They found ancient artifacts from Egypt predating the first of human race. Yes, that's okay at Monk's Mound. Well, that's just it. Is I don't think that this is the first, timeline. I think this is the sixth. To be honest with you, I think that Adam and Eve, or the beginning of this timeline, was actually the sixth. I don't think it was the first by any means. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. That's good, Beta. Yes. Right. Wand, or whatever. Which I tell people all the time. They're, or used to. They would say, "Okay, well, do I use a wand? Can I use a wand? Or I need my crystals. I need this." I said, "You don't need anything. Remember, anything that you have is just an extension of you. You've got the power." It's like, people that say, "Oh, I forgot my crystals. I left them at home, and now I'm at work without them. I'm going to have a horrible day." Yeah, you're right. You are, because you believe you are. Come on. Those crystals have no inherent power. You've got the power. So know it and have a great day. Yes, there's a lot to be said about that. And that's getting into the Kabbalah, which is, that's really the it's really where what it all comes down to is, well, the building blocks of reality itself, the Kabbalah, and how the particles, the subatomic particles, the quantum particles relate to the Kabbalah, how the nuclear chain reaction, the atomic bomb, everything relates to the Kabbalah. Very powerful. Anyway, we've gone on for 3 hours. Thank you all for being here and taking part. I thrive on it. And please hit the, I think it's the follow button or whatever. So whenever I'm on, thank you, Jenny. Yeah, notification button. I'm kind of new at this, so and then also if you want to, you can send me a message at the texarsispodcast@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions or talk to you with any comments or whatever. And and let's see, I'm just gonna put this. Okay. Yeah, there you go. And but anyway, yeah, it's been great. So Patty, you say right back to where what you're saying, you're a huge relief. Hope I can find you again. Well, I hope so too. Just hit the follow button or the notifications or whatever it is. Yeah. And anyway, thank you. Thank you all, and good night from Texas. See you next time. Good night.